It's 4 o'clock in Los Angeles. It's 6 o'clock in Dallas, Texas. And it's 7 p.m. in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Hello, everybody. I'm Maddog The Pitbull, joined as I am, God help me, each and every week by Amelia the Pitbull Chapman. I'm afraid to ask. How you doing, Amelia?
Fair to Midland, as they say.
Fair to Midland. Midland's in Texas, by the way.
I know, right?
Anyway, we got our friend, the doctor, is in the house. Doc
Yes.
Diamond has joined us once again for a very special episode tonight of the state of pro wrestling. We're going to talk about the ins, the outs, what's good with it, what's wrong with it. Can it learn from the past, or does it have a bright future that we don't know about? So let's get right into this. But you know what? Before we get into this, I got a shout out. Huge shout out to my manager, Harlan Bowl in Los Angeles, California. Harlan, he hit a home run with us again. We have Barbara Streisand's sister joining us on Monday. Rosalind Kind is here. She's a jazz song stylist, and Amelia, I know jazz is not like your kind, your cup of tea, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
But learn to like it at least for one. I think you'll like it. She's a nice lady. She's a real sweet lady. And last night we had one hell of a show.
We
with
did.
Country Hall of Famer, the outlaw herself, Lacey J. Dalton, was here last night. And tonight we have an outlaw of another kind. His name is Doc Diamond. He is a pro wrestling manager. He's been a trainer, owned a wrestling school, co-owned a wrestling school, and has worked for the WWE, the WWF, NWA, WCW in the 80s and 90s. When he says when wrestling was great, and you'll not get an argument from me. Doctor, how the hell are you tonight?
How you doing, everybody? Doing good. Doing good.
So, Doc, let me ask you a question. We're talking about the 80s and 90s, which was really like kind of your heyday.
Right.
That's when you made your bones in the business.
Yes.
Well, even before that, too.
Yeah.
But the 80s and 90s held, and I think you and I would both agree, that the 80s and 90s held for you and me a special place in our hearts because of the characters, because of the territory system.
Yes.
Because of all the great wrestling talent that we had in our area here in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York area.
On the East Coast, yeah.
Yeah, the East Coast is a hotbed. You know what, Doc? Has it always been a hotbed of wrestling?
On the East Coast, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did that start, in your opinion? When did the East Coast gain momentum?
The late 70s and the 80s,
Okay.
early 80s.
I could see that. I think because you're my age, Doc, so you remember as I do the WWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. And a lot of people don't know that Vince McMahon's dad, Vince McMahon Sr., was the original owner of the company.
Right. Well,
And when he passed away, Vince, of course, bought the company from the estate and took over
right.
and went crazy with it.
Well, Vince, I don't mean to interrupt you.
I want you to, please. Yes.
But Vince's dad used to rent rings off of Larry Sharp, and I helped with Augie, Larry's dad.
Yes.
They used to have the rings for the WWF.
Yep. I will, and I'll tell you what. I'm glad that you mentioned that because the show that I did, one of the biggest shows I did, name-wise, in Atlantic City, Vince McMahon actually gave us the ring for that show.
Oh, okay.
That's a straight up shoot.
How long ago was that about?
I'll tell you exactly when it was. December 16th, 2001.
Oh, okay.
It was a benefit for the Red Cross 9/11 fund.
Okay.
Wow.
That shows you how far back that was. Because
The reason I wanted to ask you that was because I didn't know if you would have had the time span if Augie was still alive, Larry's dad.
no, I think Augie had passed long
Yes,
before
he
that.
did. Yeah, that's why I was
And
asking you. I didn't know.
but it's funny that you mentioned Augie because I heard that he must have been one hell of a character because I heard stories about Augie from everybody from King Kong Bundy to Bob Orton.
Yeah,
Everybody knew Augie.
yes, yes.
So was he a promoter or was he just a ring guy?
He helped promote with Larry. We did a show down at Asbury Park, and
Okay.
Abdul the Butcher was on the card, and I stuck up for Abby because at that time we were just on the ring, and at the convention center down Asbury,
Oh yeah, sure, I know it well.
and the promoter wasn't going to pay.
Oh,
And,
wow.
I had to get between because he was going to pay Augie in a check, and he wanted cash. Because
Augie always wanted cash. I heard. So did
Yeah.
the guy. I got news for you. That acorn didn't fall far from the tree either because Larry was a cash guy.
yeah, that's where Larry got it. Yes.
Yep. We have. Hey, here we go. We got our friend from. Listen to this one, Doc. I got my friend from New Zealand
Oh
in the chat.
wow, James.
Okay.
It says shout out to Mr. Best in the Business, Angelo, and another big shout out to the president of the Gino Hernandez Fan Club.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I have to tell you, Doc, in the interest of full disclosure, Amelia, my esteemed co-host here, pain in the ass is what she is.
What?
She is a huge, huge fan of the late great Gino Hernandez. Doc, do you have any Gino stories,
No.
or was Gino before your time?
Oh no, he wasn't before my time, but really didn't know him that well.
Oh,
He was
gotcha.
in Texas. He was in the Texas southern
Yeah.
area,
Yeah.
probably. So
Well,
yeah.
no, listen, I got to tell you, Doc got around in the day.
Yes. Yeah.
Doc's been all over the world.
Yes.
You've been all so. Let's talk about that, Doc. We're talking about tonight is the state of pro wrestling. I call this the state of the union of pro wrestling. So we have an interesting thing happening today. It's for the first time in 75 years.
Right.
There's not a McMahon running the wrestling business. That's a very, very important milestone because for the first time ever, there's not a person named Vince McMahon running wrestling.
Can I show you something for a minute?
Oh yes. Please.
Yeah.
See that?
Oh
There
wow.
you go.
Wrestling Eye.
Yeah.
Can you see me in the middle? Who's that? Am I with? Can you see
That
it?
is that's Big Hoss, Chief Thunder Mountain, and that's the doc, the good
Yeah.
doctor.
From Wrestling Eye.
Mm.
Wow. Beautiful.
Wasn't
Wow.
that the Wrestling Eye? Wasn't that Carmine DeSpirito or something like that?
Carmine DeSpirito.
DeSpirito. Yeah, that's how you say
Yeah,
it.
well, guess what, brother? Carmine was supposed to be on the night show with you.
Oh, really?
I'm not even kidding. Look, you ready
Yeah.
for this?
Oh, I believe you.
There's his name right there on the front screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. The prick stood me up. You wait, I get a hold of him now, bastard.
What a
Carmine,
good guy.
How
people
dare
used
he
to-
stand you up?
do you know how many times people have confused us for each other? You know, or they'll say, "Oh, Angelo, tell your brother Carmine." Well, first of all, our names do sound similar. I'm
Yeah.
DeScipio, he's DeSpirito. Plus, we're Italian, so we all look alike anyway. Shut up, Amelia.
Or Vince Russo? They call you Mr. Vince Russo.
Oh yeah, this is another one, Doc. That people call me Vince Russo all the time,
Yeah.
and I've
go,
had
"Hey,
Vince on the show. But Vince has been here 4 times already.
Mhm.
I like Vince. He's a nice guy. Pain in my ass, but he's a good guy. Doc, let's talk about that. For the first time ever, I want to get serious a little bit here.
Sure.
For the first time ever, we have wrestling without a McMahon. How, in your opinion, has that changed the face of wrestling?
It was going downhill anyway. I'll be honest with you. I don't think the characters are all gone. You know, I mean, there's no characters anymore.
You're right.
I don't mean like cartoonish, but I mean,
no.
you know, you don't have the Iron Sheik, you know, Nikolai Volkov, Jimmy
Oh my
Snuka,
God, yeah.
King Kong Bundy. Where's those kind of superstars
Yeah.
and those kind of characters?
Right.
Everything that's in the WWE now is all cookie cutter.
Yes.
It's all the same.
Can I tell you why I think that is? And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad to hear you say that it's all cookie cutter. And here's why I think it's cookie cutter. They're all being trained at the same facility in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
They're being trained by the same people, the same way, in the same building, and they never get out.
Right.
The only time they get out is when they graduate to NXT. They get on TV. They get the chance to show what they've got. Most of them, believe it or not, most of them fall by the wayside.
Right.
There's a handful of people in NXT that are still there only because if they go, there will be nobody in NXT.
But not just that. Look at any of the big names that used to be, like Nikolai and Snuka, guys like that, Bundy.
Yeah.
They had to work indies to survive.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we're going to talk a lot about that today because we're talking about the state of pro wrestling. And thank you, Doc, for segueing me right into the first half. The first half of the show is the state of indie wrestling, something you and I know a lot about. The second half of the show is going to be the state of the big time, AEW, WWE, New Japan. And then we're going to see if there's anybody else left in the mix.
Right.
Because to be honest with you, Doc, I don't know about how you feel, but I got to be honest. To me, and this is Amelia, you could chime in if you want.
Mm-hmm.
To me, AEW is nothing but a big indie. It's a big indie with television. That's all AEW is to me. It's an indie fed that has a lot of money.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that WWE doesn't take over that even.
Yeah.
Sometime in the next couple of years.
Are you ready for this? Doc, you must be a prophet. Are you ready for this? Listen to this one. I'm not even making this up. Shane McMahon, Vince McMahon's only son. Shane McMahon is in talks to join AEW. I'm not even making that up. And it's not it's not a rumor.
Yeah, I didn't even know that, and
we talked about that.
My opinion. Yeah.
I'm not even making not even a little bit of that up.
Well, nobody else can make it. I mean, any of the indies. I mean, the show that you were at with me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good show, but that's rare for indies.
Well,
now.
yeah, but you know what, Doc? You're not going to get wealthy, selling tickets to 200 people at the VFW hall, half of whom got in for free anyway.
Right.
Because our friend Jaden lets everybody in for free.
Right.
But he charged me $20, and you know what? I'm happy to pay the $20, and I'm going to tell you why. Very simple. It means that somebody will get paid that night.
Right. And that's how I look at it. It's the same thing when I went to a show on the 13th of last month in Gloucester City.
Yeah.
I went there and I expected to pay.
Right.
I went there with my good friend Angel Vega. We went there and we were walking towards the front of the building to go in the front door to pay.
Yeah.
and it was $20. I mean, $15 a pop.
Yeah.
And I was going in. I was not asking to get in free, nothing like that. But then there was a couple of the guys coming, a couple of the boys walking towards us, and they're going, "Hey, Doc, how you doing? How you doing, buddy? We love you," that kind of thing, handshake, hug, that kind of stuff. And they say, "You going this way, Doc?" And they took me and Angel to the locker room.
Oh, yeah.
Outside. And as soon as we got in,
yeah,
we get halfway through the locker room, and then somebody stops the kid that was bringing us in and chirping in his ear.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he turns around, comes back and says, "Doc, I'm sorry. You got to go around the front." And I said, "Hey, kid, I understand. It wasn't his fault."
Yeah.
Well,
you know what? And I know where your heart is. You're the guy that's always paid his way.
Yes.
You and I are cut from that same fabric. We pay our way. If the boys want to let us in, look, I'm going to pay my way. I'll pay myself in. If the promoter wants to give me my money back, that's on him. But I never.
I want them guys to get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that's
what they're going through, because I went through it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mitch Stein never went through that. He has no idea. He's never stepped in the ring. He's never took a bump.
Yeah.
And here he is, co-owner of SPO Wrestling.
Well, let's talk about that, Doc. When you began your career in the Indies, and up to where it is now today, and what we saw the other couple of weeks back, has the indie circuit changed in the way it does business now in 2024 as opposed to 1985?
Yes, the respect is gone.
That's awful.
I have to say that he's absolutely right. Everybody is a superstar. Everybody's a legend in their own mind. I got news for you. I'm going to say this, and I don't care who likes it and who doesn't. Before you assholes start selling merch, learn to work.
Yeah.
Learn to take a bump. Learn the psychology of the business. Understand why you're there. Understand it's a work. Nobody wins titles. They're given to you.
They're earned.
You earn the respect of keeping that title by keeping your nose clean and your mouth shut.
Right.
And that respect is gone, and Doc Diamond fucking nailed that. If you're going to start selling merch, learn to work first.
Yes.
Then put your merch table up and sell your T-shirts and all your gimmicks, okay? You can work, brother, let me tell you something. These guys can work the gimmick table all night long.
Yeah.
But as long as they know how to work the gimmick first.
Yeah.
Then you can sell your fucking gimmicks. I don't care. You can sell your gimmicks from the time you get there to the time you leave.
But Angela, I don't want to put down SPO Wrestling because Johnny Kashmere, like I said, I have nothing against Johnny.
I'm not putting any
promotion.
Johnny.
Nothing against Johnny. But that when I went there,
yeah,
they would be Mitch Stein. They were worried about that I was going to see that there wasn't a big crowd there. And they're going to say that, just because you put out 40 chairs doesn't mean you've got a big crowd and you're a sold out crowd.
40 chairs. 40 chairs is for my family.
Yeah, exactly. I've had birthday parties bigger than that.
I'm telling you, yeah. For real. That's from my crew.
My 60th birthday party, I had more people than were at that show.
So I want to talk. We have to get back on track. I want to talk about the state of pro wrestling as it exists now in the indies. Overall, I absolutely agree with you. The respect is gone. It's all about every man for himself now. It used to be the locker room used to root for each other.
Yes.
That's gone now.
Yes, it is.
That's
Certainly
way
is.
gone.
Yes.
We have to understand, you and I are two old farts, that we just have to kind of deal with the way life is progressing. As disgruntled as I am about it.
Yes, you are.
But here's the thing, and Amelia, do I keep my feelings private, or do I
Oh,
share it?
you share your feelings.
But here's the thing, and it's very, very important.
Hmm.
I respect them even if they show no respect, and here's
Oh,
why.
yes, you do. Yeah.
Because and Doc will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's because at least they're in the ring. At
Yes,
Yes.
least they're in the business, and they're trying.
they're exactly trying.
Some of them fail, but that's okay. They're
Mhm.
trying. It's okay to try and fail, even if you give it your 100% and you still fail. At least you succeeded by
Right.
trying.
You
Right.
showed up.
The failure lies in those that don't try.
Yes.
That's the failure, in
Yeah.
those that don't try.
Right. Because
So
I'd rather do
I
that.
get that. Go ahead,
I'd
Neil.
I'd rather go to, like, here in Florida. There's probably going to be one in Tampa. I haven't checked it out, but I was telling my son, why don't we go to a local wrestling area and check out our local wrestling instead of spending our money watching TV or spending money for a pay-per-view? Why don't we give our local boys a chance, and girls a chance, and go watch them wrestle, and go spend our $20 or whatever it's going to
Yep.
cost and watch them wrestle, spend a couple
Yep.
of hours and cheer them on, because they're trying, they're going there because that's where they want to be, that's what they want to do. And
It's
Well,
the
and
best $20 you'll ever spend, and I'll tell you why.
absolutely.
It,
well, not
number the
well, not
it's,
just that, Angelo. I mean, everybody thinks they can be a promoter too these
Hmm.
days.
oh wait, Doc, don't jump the horse there, brother, because you and I are going to talk about that one.
Right.
Everybody thinks they can
We're
be a
going to
promoter.
talk about how bad. Well, you know what, Doc? You brought it up. Let's talk about it right now. I have an issue,
Hmm.
big issue, with, and I'm going to use this term, and I know that Doc, you and I understand that it's really a put down, but I'm going to use this term, the term money mark. Okay, now you and I, Doc, we know some of the same people that have a little bit of cash in their pocket.
Sure.
Okay, who think that because they have access to a wrestling ring, that all of a sudden they can promote a show. Oh, why? Because I watched it on TV.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
That's not the criteria I want to hear. I want to hear I have a passion for the business.
Right.
I want to hear I want to bring kayfabe back. I
But
want to hear I want people to be invested in my characters. That's what I want to hear. What I don't want to hear is I watched it on TV.
Right.
That's the wrong answer.
well, how can you have a passion if you've never taken a bump in the ring?
And I agree with you. I agree with you. And I can honestly say, not only did I take a bump, I took many bumps in the ring. I was a referee. I was a manager. I never was big enough to be a wrestler, but I was a manager, and I was a referee, and I paid my dues, and I made my bones. And I worked for a lot of different people, paying my dues, to the point where I got the respect. There's that word again. I
Hmm.
got the respect of the boys, and that's what counted back then. The respect of the boys who had enough trust in me to say, we think you can run a show.
Right.
Wow.
And I had a little bit of cash in my pocket in the day. I have a little bit of cash, but the last thing I'm going to do today is invest in a wrestling promotion. If you want to go broke real quick, go ahead and
Right. Same
put.
thing with a school. You're not going to make any money with a school these days,
No,
or any kind of
no.
promotion. I mean, it's
You know why?
it's going to be it's basically a hobby.
Hmm.
Tell everybody, Doc, why you'll never make money in a wrestling school.
No TV.
Exactly. There's another reason nobody thinks about. Here's the reason nobody thinks about. It happened to me, and I'll tell you the story right after this commercial from Manscaped. Watch this, folks. We'll be right back. I got a story to tell you, brother. You're going to love this one, Doc.
Do you have sweaty balls or volleyball netty balls? It's time to make them ready balls. The Manscaped.com Lawnmower 3.0 will do the job and clean your knob with its patented no-nick head, so your head will function as desired. Enter promo code Wrestling Future for a generous 20% discount. That's enter Wrestling Future for a 20% discount. Manscaped.com and Wrestling with the Future, going balls to the walls with Manscaped.com and the Lawnmower 3.0. Your balls will thank you, and so will we.
Mad Dog Media is back with What's the Buzz, America's Best Popcast. We are on live around the world on WWTF, Broadband Radio System International. I want to welcome everybody at U.S. Armed Forces Radio. We are live at We Speak right now at our brand new station in Stuttgart, Germany. Welcome to What's the Buzz. And if I could learn how to say that in German, I'll do it for you next
week. Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
There you go.
There you go.
And so when last we left off, let me tell you what happened to me, Doc. This is another reason that wrestling schools will never make it anymore. I had a guy work for me. He drove 12 hours from Louisville, Kentucky to Atlantic City. He gets there. I put him on the show. He gets hurt. His 5 minutes into the match, he gets hurt. Okay, so I pull a guy out. We do a squash. We pull him out of the ring. Boom, boom, boom. Ding, ding, ding. The match is over. I pull him in the back. I said, are you trying to hurt yourself? Are you deliberately trying to hurt yourself? And give me, a panic attack here? I said, what the hell? What was that? What did I just see? And then I asked him the magic question. Who trained you?
Right.
Well, I nobody trained me. I trained myself. I watched wrestling on TV.
Or he's in his backyard.
Oh, no, it wasn't. He didn't even get that far.
Wow.
Brother, listen to what I'm telling you. His whole training was watching TV.
What?
That was his training. I said, you tutored yourself watching TV and YouTube videos? Are you shitting me? And I thought he was. I said, you know what? Go in the back, take a shower, get dressed, and start. You may as well start heading back home, before it gets too dark out, because you got a long drive ahead of you, kid. So I'm not kidding. You'll never make money in wrestling schools because they don't respect the school. Everybody thinks they know how to work. Everybody thinks they're going to be a star. Everybody thinks they're a wrestler. I got news for you. Those days have come and gone. You can't even get close to a big Fed now unless you've got a college degree in indie wrestling and you've got every promotion under the sun that you worked for. Because the WWE, Paul Levesque is not even going to look at you unless you've got 10, 12 years under your belt on the indies. That's straight shoot.
Right.
Enzo Amore and Big Cash. Remember them?
Yes.
Remember them guys, right? Yeah. They worked the indie circuit for 14 years before they got to the Fed. 14 years.
Wow.
Before they got to NXT. And they almost they almost washed out. You know why? Had nothing to do with their work. Had to do with their mouth.
Yeah.
It had to do with their mouth.
I learned a long time ago. I kept my mouth shut and keep my ears open.
Absolutely, brother.
Yep.
Absolutely. Doc, let's talk a little bit about working the indie circuit locally. We have a mutual friend named Jaden who runs a pretty decent show. When he wants to. when he wants to.
Yeah.
I said to him one time, I said, it was a nice show tonight, Jaden. And he goes, it wasn't. He goes, he gets a little cocky on me. He goes, it wasn't a show, it was an event.
Oh.
I said, no, Jaden, WrestleMania is an event. This
Right.
was a fucking show.
Right.
Get your vernacular lined up there, son.
This is the one
Okay.
that we just went to.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you have done differently, Angelo?
What would I have done differently?
Mhm.
Never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever put a championship match on as a curtain jerk.
Well, not just
Never.
that, everybody had a belt.
Everybody, yeah. You had the Friday night champion, the Saturday afternoon champion, the Tuesday at 3:00 champion.
Bathroom champion.
Yep. You know,
Jeez, too
Everybody
many
had a belt.
belts.
the
That's
the guy to take the drizzling shits champion.
wow. That's too
You
many
know,
belts.
yeah. Am I lying, Doc? Everybody had a fucking belt.
Yes.
There must have been so many belt marks back there. And there's a lot, and that's another thing.
But I don't want to put it down. I mean,
Would you do me a
and that,
favor, Doc?
that wasn't Jaden's show.
Mm.
No,
Jaden
yeah,
just I think
that was
Jaden-
Vinny's show. Vinny the
Right.
Fixer.
And Vinny put on it. He did. He put on a good show. And
Doc,
I would
you
go
told
again, and I would recommend other people to go.
Doc, you told me a story about 3-4 years ago on the show here about a guy that came in to be trained at the Monster Factory with you and Larry back at the time. Would you tell people that story about this kid that came in to be trained and asked you, when do I get a belt?
Oh yeah, I mean that was even at my school, Devastation University.
Tell everybody the story from the beginning.
Well, no, I've had that all the time. A kid comes in, and as soon as he gets in, I think he was there maybe 2 weeks at the most, and then then he's wondering when he was going to get a chance at a belt, and that's when we were running the WWA. Of course, I didn't have my own school at that time. I was partners with Larry with the Monster Factory at the time,
Right.
and we were doing WWA shows right out of the Monster Factory. And then in 2004, I bought this school from King Kong Bundy, my own school.
Was that Devastation University?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And then that
How
existed
long did Bundy have the school before you took it over?
just a year or two.
Because I had visited him there once. He asked me to come down and check it out. I think at the time, to be honest, between you and I, because it's no secret, that I think he wanted me there because he was looking for an investor.
Yeah. How I fell into it was I was at the Hall of Fame up with Tony Villano,
Mm-hmm.
and I was at the Hall of Fame up there. And
Tony's been on the show.
and Bundy was on the card. They had a wrestling show up there.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, Tom Brandy was there.
Oh, okay, good. Tommy's a good guy.
The Patriot. And Bundy asked me at that show if I was interested in buying his, business,
Yeah.
his wrestling school. And they said, "Can you give me some time to think about it?" And when I got home, I guess in 2 days or so, I jumped at it. And thing Bundy said when I went down to see the school and things like that, the ring came with the school. He asked me if I bought it, I would give him a first chance of buying it back.
Okay.
That was the only stipulation, that he would have the chance of buying it back.
Can I tell you why that? You know where he learned that from? He learned that from Larry Sharp. I'm going to tell you why. Listen to here's what Larry used to do. I'm not talking ill of the dead. This is Larry, and this is how Larry used to work. Very simple. My school is failing. I'm going to sell it to you. I'm out of here. You're going to take the school and build it up, and you're going to have new students here. I'm going to see how many people you got here, and I'm going to buy it back from you at the same price I sold it to you for.
Right.
That's how that little bastard worked. Okay.
Right. Well, Larry was. I've had a lot more good times with Larry than bad times.
Oh, I have too. We used to get drunk together all the time at my dad's bar.
I was right there, with you guys.
The fun times. Huh?
I was no stranger to that.
I know. I hear you, brother. But so you understand then that the world of indie pro wrestling is a very, very different animal, not only from promotion to promotion, from town to town, but from state to state. It's a whole different animal. Because in New Jersey, there's no commission here. Right. You go 10 minutes over the bridge, Pennsylvania's got a commission. You got to pay taxes. Right. You got to have a doctor.
Well,
you've got to have a... Oh,
Jersey
yeah.
was that way, though, too, Angelo, years ago when we had the commission.
Oh, yeah. Well, Larry Hazard used to be the commissioner years ago. Yeah, sure.
Right. Because they guaranteed you that you had a referees for the show. Right. They supplied the tickets. So they knew that the state knew what you were making, what you were making at your gate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they supplied the doctor. And they all got paid first. The referees and the doctor got paid first before.
And that's why, and that, Doc Diamond, is why Vince McMahon put the kibosh on the commission. There's no commission in New Jersey as a direct result of Vince McMahon going to the commission and saying, this is entertainment.
Right. That's what I was just going to say. It was no longer pro wrestling as a sport because wrestling used to be combined with the boxing.
Exactly.
And then Vince went and said, okay, well, let's make it entertainment.
Yeah.
And that also had to do with, I guess, his taxes too.
It had a lot to do. It had everything to do with taxes.
Right.
You just said why. You gave the answer. The commission got paid first for the ref. Right. They got paid first for the tickets. They got paid first for the doctor. Yeah. They got the taxes right off the gate.
Yeah.
Right off the gate.
Tickets. Yeah, they issued the tickets.
And you got what was left over. And guess what? If you didn't have enough money left over to pay the boys, you were the asshole. You were the bad guy. Oh, no, Amelia. The commission put the kibosh on a lot of indie promoters. They made a lot of indie promoters look really, really bad. Am I lying, Doc?
No, you're not lying. You're not lying.
It's the truth. It's the truth. But in getting rid of the commission, wrestling did come back. And there was a surge in wrestling here, particularly on the East Coast.
Yes. Big surge.
Particularly in like Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Yeah. ECW.
Leon's with us. Leon says, I love indie shows in small arenas. Well, Leon, you would have loved the show that Doc and I went to. We sweat our balls off in this fucking place. Because it was small, man. It was jam-packed.
Yeah.
But the commission did, when they went away, the commission's absence did breathe life into new promotions. Because guys were running shows now, but what we used to call outlaw shows. Remember them, Doc?
Yes.
We were talking to Lacey J. Dalton last night about outlaw music and outlaw country. I said, you know what, Lacey, I got a show tomorrow night about wrestling promoters, outlaw promotions. We're going to talk about that. So, and it tied into this. And I said, well, here's what I want to talk to Doc about. Back in the days when everybody thought they could run a show, and you had the Metz brothers that had the rings, and they had the insurance, and guys were buying, $1 million liability insurance for like $60.
Right.
Because you have to have insurance. God forbid something happens. Especially, I know, because I was at Williamstown High School and I had this huge gym, 2,000 people at Williamstown High School, right? Taking the ring down. Nothing happened the whole night. It was a great night. Taking the ring down when they were taking the turnbuckle, the ring post down.
Right.
One of the guys scratched the basketball court.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And it cost me $9,000 to have it fixed.
Yeah, because you got to do the whole floor.
They got to do the whole floor. They don't just do it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Cost me $9,000. That was 23 years ago.
Jeez.
23 years ago. I had to replace the basketball floor at the Williamstown High School because some careless drunk ring attendant taking the ring down put a nice big fucking gash in a beautiful, beautiful basketball court. Yeah. Every dollar I made that night ended up going back to the Williamstown High School. Every dollar and then some. Anyway, Doc, give me some and I'm sure you've got, like I do, you've got to have some either funny stories or some real horror stories from running indie shows. Which one comes to mind first? Something funny or one of those that you shake your head and go, why did I fucking do that?
That's what I was gonna say. Why did I end up promoting this?
Well, the one, this comes real fast because we talked about it before. It would be New Jack. I had half of my money up front, and then, the rest of the money was coming after the show. And me and Tommy Cairo talked to him, and I did Eric Sims a favor bringing him in because he was in town.
Yeah.
Whatever show he was coming from, it really doesn't matter. But I was doing a favor, and then he tries to screw me over because we talked to him. It was a family show. It was packed. There was over 1,000 people. Jimmy Snuka was the main event, and me and Tommy Cairo talked to him in the locker room. No cursing. You can't have the F word. You can't have the F word.
Yeah.
And we must have told him 15 times before he got out the door to go out to the ring. And damn, if he got to the ring, as soon as he picked up the mic, first thing out of his mouth was the F word.
Oh,
I'm not surprised.
You can say the word.
Every other one was the F word.
Yeah.
He can say it.
Yeah, no, Doc's not a cursor like that. Not like I am.
Not like
But
you.
New Jack stayed with me for 2 days here. It's funny because he was a complete gentleman.
Right. Well, I was going to say he can be a nice guy, and
he
rest in peace. He could be a nice guy, but he started to live his character. Lived his character.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Wow.
He tried to live the gimmick, and it was part of what killed him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and I'll just tell everybody that now. It's part of why New Jack is not here anymore.
That's horrible.
Because let me tell you something. God rest his soul, but Jerome Young, a.k.a. New Jack, drank vodka like it was water.
Water.
Wow.
He drank a lot of vodka, and did way too much coke. First of all, you blow one line of coke, that's too much in my book. He was blowing coke like it was fucking, candy. But a lot of those ECW guys did. That's why they're all gone now. They're all gone.
Yeah.
Like,
which is unfortunate. Balls Mahoney. John had such a good heart,
Mhm.
and it just once he went down that rabbit hole. I mean, it
Yeah.
was he was you couldn't recognize him
Yeah, I know.
Right. Well, like
towards the end there.
to
Yeah.
us fans, I mean, we lose a wrestler, and it's like we lose like a whole world because a lot of us, feel like that's our favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
That's one of the best ones ever that we'll never see again. Is there any wrestler, I mean, to any of you that you have lost that you felt that way? That oh my gosh, that's
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down, easiest answer. Easiest. Chris Candido.
Yes, what a nice guy.
Easiest. That is the simplest answer for me. Chris Candido.
Let me say something right now. That's funny you said that. This is what killed him. Do you see that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
You see?
Oh sure.
You see that big name right there?
Absolutely.
Yep. Sonny. Sure.
That's what killed him.
Yeah. I know.
And
Yep.
the doctor's on there too. I don't know if you noticed or not.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And WA poster.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
brother. I know everybody on that poster. Trust me when I tell you, I've been around the corner. But that was the one guy that I really, my heart really went out to his family for that.
Yeah.
When he passed, because he was on my show and he did me a favor. Actually, he did Pat Tanaka the favor because Pat was supposed to be on the show, and he broke his shoulder over in Japan,
Okay.
over in Tokyo, and he couldn't leave the country because they wouldn't clear him to travel.
Right.
Oh.
So he had to stay there to recuperate. So Chris called him up. He was living in Brigantine at the time. The Pat and Chris Candido were neighbors down the shore, like right outside of Atlantic City in Brigantine. And so, he calls Chris. Him and Tammy were living together, and they both came in. She did the Sunny gimmick. She was working the gimmick table. He worked the battle royal, and he worked another match for me. And I'll tell you what, and I couldn't thank him enough because he saved my show.
Yeah.
He saved my show after Hacksaw Jim Duggan almost fucking killed it.
Awful.
Yeah.
Because he helped me up.
Like I said, he just had a great heart, and
Yeah.
And Tammy, behind his back. I mean.
Oh yeah. Oh, everybody knew. Everybody knew.
Yeah, with the with the
The only person Doc that didn't know was Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I had Chris's brother Johnny on the show. Amelia, how long ago was Johnny with us?
At least a couple of years ago, it seems.
About 2 years ago, probably.
Yeah, because I was new to the show, so he was.
Yeah.
New. Mm-hmm.
I had Chris's brother Johnny on. I tell you what, boy, he looks just like his brother.
He does.
Yeah.
He looks just like him, and sounds like him too.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Boy, this is scariest," and I'm wanting to call you Chris, John. So if I slip and call you Chris, forgive me.
Yeah.
He goes, "No, it happens all the time."
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know that Chris came from a very wealthy family.
You're right.
His family had a lot of money. But the one thing that he loved more than anything was wrestling.
Yes.
His family thought he was crazy for going into wrestling. And he said, I'm going to do this, so either you support me or you don't. I'm going to do it. And he did.
Yeah. And he was a small guy in stature, but he was a big guy. You know what I mean? He was muscular,
well, Chris and I were the same size because we're both broad shouldered. We were kind of built the same, but he had a bigger chest than I do because he used to work. He used to work out with he loved to do them incline bench presses because that's where you build up your chest. And Chris was my size, as I said, because I'm like 5'4", and he was like 5'5", something like that. But
probably about 5'6", 5'7".
5'6", okay.
6, yeah.
I was in the ballpark, though. I was in the ballpark. But the other thing was that, he was a sweet, sweet guy, and he was as funny off camera as he was on TV. He had a funny sense of humor. That was a hell of a guy, hell of a guy. Now, Doc, we got to talk about the pros now, the big time.
Yeah.
Got to talk about the big time now, because we spent almost an hour just talking about the indies.
I show you what. I just want to show you one more picture we can see. Can
Sure.
you see that or not?
I can. Yep, that's
me.
you and Bam Bam.
Yeah. I'm
That's
almost
you
as
and-
big as Bam Bam.
Scott Bigelow, Bam Bam. Yeah, I know. Bam Bam's on the left hand side.
Yeah, and the good-looking guy's right there.
You still had some hair left, brother.
Yeah, a lot of hair. I still got hair. I got hair.
I know.
bald.
You still had some there.
Yeah, my toupee went a little ways ago, but
I know, right? So, Doc, let's talk about. Well, you know what? Let me go to Amelia on this one. Amelia,
Yes.
let me start with you, then I'll go to Doc.
Okay.
You're a wrestling fan.
Yes.
So, what can today's wrestling? Let me put it like this:
Okay.
what can today's wrestling learn from the past, the wrestling you grew up watching in Texas?
They need to watch the older tapes of yesterday's wrestling to learn how to wrestle today.
yeah.
They do.
Couldn't said it better myself.
Yep.
Couldn't said it better myself. Doc, your thoughts on that?
It's just.
I know, Doc. It's frustrating.
Yeah, no, it is. It is because I don't even watch it on TV. And my son Josh, he's just turned 16, and he wants to watch it, and I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
I tried. And
Well, let me ask you, Doc. I'm sorry, Amelia. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. I tried to watch it and I couldn't because it was so acrobatic and all this flips and stuff. I'm like, what is this that I'm watching? Just a bunch of people doing flips.
Can we talk? Let's all talk about that. I think today's wrestler is far more athletic than the past. But
yes, definitely. But Angela, they want to do high spot after high spot.
Well, I was just about to say that. They're far more athletic, but they don't know how to use their athleticism. They all want to be circus acrobats.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
They all want to be.
you.
You know what? Can I tell you what I'm watching today? Let me tell you what I'm watching today.
Mhm.
I'm watching 3 giant feds, and everybody wants to be Matt and Jeff Hardy.
Right, but I didn't just say, like I said, they want to say high spot to high spot to high spot. And then all of a sudden they're getting right up off the mat.
Yeah, but they're no selling. Everybody is no selling. You know why? Because they don't know how to sell.
That's right. What school they went to or whoever's teaching them, they're not telling them. They're not.
Dude, that's the
how to sell.
problem, Doc. Doc, listen to me, babe. That's the problem. Nobody's teaching them. Nobody's teaching them. They're teaching each other.
Yeah.
And look, it's like, no offense, fellas, but it's like the blind leading the blind, you know?
Right.
They're learning wrong from people that are teaching them wrong. But you know what? If you got enough wrong guys teaching other wrong guys, sooner or later it's going to become the right way.
Right.
And that's the problem. What you're looking at today is wrong.
Yeah.
But so many people are doing it, it's become right.
Yeah. And also,
people want to know why I get frustrated and why I holler and why my voice goes crazy. This is why.
Yeah. And
Also,
also,
I hate me and Doc are the only ones who, first of all, thank God that I have a brother named Doc Diamond that understands my mentality, because first of all, we're both the same age. We both grew up in the same business the same way, and he understands because we lived it.
Right.
Do you know
And
what
not
else
just,
they're doing too?
What's that, Meal?
Transgender men are trying to become women, trying to wrestle
Oh,
women, and
don't
that's
even
wrong.
go down that
That's
rabbit hole.
horribly
Wait,
wrong. Stop.
listen, I'm just getting my headache, okay, under control.
Stop
Don't
that.
go down that.
Don't do
We're
that.
gonna. We did a show about. Do you know that there are 11 transgender wrestlers right now in the big feds?
no, I didn't know that.
AEW and WWE. There are
Yeah.
11 of them, and
Wow.
and they will not tell you who they are.
They
I
won't.
know because I have the list,
Wow.
but they will not say it on television. They will not say it on television.
Well, not just that. Angela, I'm pretty sure you agree with me. But the guys that want to use the ladders and the chairs, that the chairs are okay. That that's normal for wrestling. But the thumbtacks and the mouse traps and the
There's
No,
no
no,
place for that. No, there's
No,
no
no more.
place for that.
No.
Can I tell you something? And
but
I
there's
know
guys, but there's guys that are doing it that actually can wrestle. They have the talent to wrestle, but they want to do that stuff. I don't get it.
I don't either. But here's a classic example, of somebody that is so over using that kind of technique. Mick Foley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mick Foley is not a wrestler. He never was.
He's a brawler. Yeah.
He's a brawler. He's a
Yes.
brute.
Yeah.
Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
Dude love.
Yeah,
Mankind.
he worked for me as Cactus Jack.
That's all he was for years was Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know? Jack Foley. That's his name. You know? His name's Jack Michael Foley. They call him Mick. That's how he became Mick Foley. And only a historian will tell you that because most people don't even know how the fuck Mick Foley became Mick Foley. Anyway, I'm an old fart and I know this shit. Here's the other thing though. And to your point, Doc, yeah, you know what? The thumbtacks, the mouse traps, the casket matches, the booby trap, barbed wire matches.
The barbed wire matches. That's what
That's a
They're
Japanese.
wrestling. They're using, instead of putting the ropes up, they're using barbed wire.
Well, yeah, and that was a thing that started in Japan.
Ouch.
In the Japanese death matches, and I got news for you. They called them death matches because some of them guys died for real on a shoot. Shoot died doing them matches.
Or close to death.
Or close to death, and a lot of them did die.
Yeah.
I know 4 of them did anyway. Or dropping on a board that explodes, the exploding fucking matches. Like that's not wrestling, folks. Okay.
Well, I gotta tell you a story. Like Matt Tremont. I love him to death.
I love Matt. Matt's a great guy.
He's a patron of my school, of Devastation University. And he called me one day and asked me about the wrestling, about him doing the ladders and the thumbtacks and the light bulbs and the fluorescent light bulbs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, Matt, you don't have to do that. You have the talent to wrestle.
Yes, he does. And he's good.
Yes.
He's good. Do you know, Amelia, who Doc is talking about? Matt Tremont.
No.
They call him the king of the hardcore matches.
Wow.
He's probably the number one guy in the world that does this. Okay. To the point where they use chainsaws and
Oh my gosh.
and weed whackers and leaf blowers and panes of glass and fluorescent tubes.
Yeah.
All this bullshit that like somebody's going to get a fan
Staple guns.
Staple guns.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Texas brawl match.
No, this is the kind of stuff. This is for real. This is the kind of stuff that people are doing.
Oh my god. Sounds like
they're killing each other.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but when he's 50 and 60 years old, if they last that long,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to be in constant pain
all the time.
and then you wonder why they go down that rabbit hole of the drugs from a doctor or alcohol, mixing that with the drug, and then
Yeah.
you have a friend, then you have friends that are gone because of that.
Doc, I want you to think about something.
Mm.
Red Bastain, Bruno Sammartino, Superstar Billy Graham, Jimmy Snuka, Alpha, and Sika. What do they all have in common? They all lived into their 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
These guys are dropping dead in their 30s and 40s.
40s, yes.
All of the half of the roster that I worked with is gone now.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're gone. They're gone. You
Right.
understand?
But those guys that you're talking about, though, and I was there. That's why a lot of them can't say anything about me. Is I was there too. Is, you know, they were down that rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, they did, but they got smart enough at some point to stop.
Stop. Yeah.
The other thing they all had going for them, the little secret weapon of every wrestler, the wife, the girlfriend. Okay?
Right.
Thankfully,
Or the kids.
Superstar and Bruno and Red and Alpha and Sika, they all had strong women in their lives.
Yes.
They all had strong women in their lives. These other guys like Louis Spicolli, that was a hell of a wrestler, died at 28 years old. Died.
Very young.
Drugs, steroids, drugs,
Yeah.
other shit. He was taking everything he could get.
Yeah, we did a show about that. Remember, Maddog? About young wrestlers dying young.
Eddie Gilbert, rest in peace, is gone. Half the ECW locker room, Anthony, Gary Pitbull is left. Anthony's gone.
Trent Acid.
Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock are both gone. Ted Petty, God rest his. What a nice, sweet man he was.
Yes.
But he couldn't shake the monkey.
Trent Acid.
Couldn't do it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Doc, I think it's been an education tonight, the State of the Union of Wrestling. What's next for Doc Diamond? What do you got going on, kid?
I'll be honest with you, like we're just talking about not doing shows. I got when I went to that show with you, I got the itch. I wanted to do another,
Yeah.
But it isn't to make money. It isn't going to be to make money.
You're not. It's if you want to do it to have fun, I'm all in. But if you want to do it to make money, I got news for you. You'll spend more than you'll make.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I want to be able to pay the locker room, pay the guys, and all that kind of stuff. But and have a nice crowd there. I don't want I don't want 20 people.
I want to tell you what I used to do, Doc. I don't know if you ever did this or what your your style was. What I always did, and this is just me. I used to, when I showed up at a show and all my locker room was there, and I always had like a special guest and a big name, right? Before the opening bell ever rang, everybody in my locker room had their pay envelope. I paid everybody that was there in the locker room. If they didn't show up in the locker room, they didn't get paid. They didn't work.
Yeah.
But if you showed up, you were in the locker room, you got your check, you got your cash.
Yeah.
So some people want cash, some people want check. I got them both. So I paid all my locker room. Then everything after that was all me.
Yeah.
And most of the time, luckily, knock wood, I broke even and I made a couple of, but not a lot of money, 200 or 300. I'm talking about. That was my profit, 200 or 300. But guess what? That's 200 or 300 I made that I didn't spend.
Right. I mean, I was making good money, but then I was making enough money also. I mean, had to pay rent for the building, because I had the school.
Yeah, sure.
I always had a school connected with my promotion.
Absolutely smart.
And
That's the way to do it.
I can run the show right. Some of the situations I can take the ring right out of the school, just move it.
Yeah.
So many.
That was the thing in Paulsboro with the Monster Factory.
Right.
They used to do parties there.
Yes.
They used to do shows there, and they had the school there.
Right.
So everything that was a perfect setup because it was all built in one.
Right. I did the same thing with doing the seminar. I do it like if I had a big name in like Jim Neidhart or something like that. I would do a seminar. I'd do a seminar the very next day.
Yeah. Doc, what was the place that Larry, the place in Belmar that Larry had? You remember he had a place in Belmar on the Black Horse Pike in Belmar, New Jersey?
Oh, yeah. But that didn't last long. That didn't last long.
I was going to ask you, what was the deal with that? I never understood why he went to Belmar of all places.
The first one was at the Lumberton Airport.
Right.
Okay. And then we moved down in Paulsboro.
Yep.
Okay. And he had that one building there where the city there had paid. They fixed it up.
Yeah.
And then we moved to the little pizzeria that was sat in the middle of town.
Yep, I remember that place.
That little place. That when you went off the ropes, you could hit the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. And
you
then,
give yourself a concussion.
Right.
Oh, that's a good.
Amelia was horrible.
Then we moved to Clementon.
Right.
Right. Down there by Clementon Park.
I'm in Clementon right now. That's why.
Right. We moved there, and then that's when we went to the school.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like
The
high
place
school there.
that he had in Clementon was in a big complex, and there was like next to a gym.
Yeah, it was like a huge, like a big warehouse, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they knocked it down. It's an apartment building now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they built the houses and apartments back here.
Yeah, I haven't been up that way since Gino Moore passed away. I haven't been up that way.
Yeah. Gino used to live right up the like literally right up the street.
Right.
I'll tell you what, folks, it's been a good night. This is our Friday. The state of pro wrestling. Amelia, what do we got coming up? Tell everybody what's coming up.
On Monday the 23rd, we actually have a singer-songwriter Rosalind Kind. She's actually the half-sister of Barbara Streisand coming on.
She is Barbara Streisand's sister. Will be here on Monday. I'm so excited about that. I know Amelia's looking forward to that. Ooh. Shut up.
And then on the 24th, we have a conspiracy show. So who knows what we're going to be talking about that day?
Maybe we'll have Aleister Cross here.
Yeah. We'll be talking to him about that. If I let him out of the dungeon and he knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we got a conspiracy show Tuesday.
Well,
and what's coming up Wednesday?
Jane Dorian, actually, Jerry Herman from
the
Hello
legacy
Dolly
of Broadway producer Jerry Herman will be here talking about all things Jerry, and I'll probably be doing that show by myself because Amelia doesn't know who the hell Jerry Herman is.
He says I'm too young for a lot of these.
Yeah, I know, you're just a kid. Anyway, Doc, what do you got coming up?
Like I said, I was looking into maybe doing a show, but you were talking about the country star. You had a relationship to the country star, whatever it was the other night.
Lacey J. Dalton?
Yes. Well, I did a show, Loretta Lynn.
Oh, all right.
At McGuire Air Force Base. I mean, I did concerts before I did wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't know. Doc used to be a concert promoter.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the only, you know what's funny about that? You and our careers paralleled each other because I started out in the music business.
Right. Well, I did.
And Amelia, how many times have I said it? I've only done two things in my life.
Right.
Wrestling and music.
And music.
Those
Yes.
are the only two things I've ever done.
Well, I did.
I was a sound engineer. I ran concerts. I booked bands. I managed bands. That's
Same
what I
thing.
do better than anything is manage bands.
Yeah.
And keeping them straight. But you and I both have the same backgrounds. You know, you're concert promoter in wrestling, and I did music in wrestling.
I did Dennis Edwards and the Temptations.
Oh God, sure,
Blue Magic.
absolutely.
At the Trenton War Memorial.
See, you have to be of a certain age to know who Blue Magic is. Because me and Doc are old.
You're not that old.
I'm old enough to remember Blue Magic. My God.
I can always Google it, you know.
But Angela was still good looking though.
Oh, God bless you, Doc. On that note, until we meet you again, Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Stay out of trouble. And if you do get in trouble, Doc Diamond's number is listed in the book. Or call Amelia. Hit her up at aachap70@gmail.com.
Right? Or what's the buzz podcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. On that note, take care of each other, folks. We'll see you on Monday with Rosalind Kind, the sister of Barbara Streisand. All right, Doc. It's like they say in the business. Take it home, kid. Let's go home.